Hello and welcome. This is Cavalry Story, and we'll be continuing on with the British campaign in Call of Duty 2. This one, we're going to be assaulting I think a coastal town, if I remember correctly. Yep. And basically this is post Battle of El Alamein, and now we are chasing the Afrika Korps back across North Africa. And eventually this is what's going to be able to push the Germans and Italians out of North Africa. Meanwhile, roughly around this time, you'll start to see Operation Torch in order to push from the other side. El Daba. This is another thing I like. Oftentimes they don't just drop you in the middle of the mission. They would actually have like a small, like like a semi-playable cutscene that would go on before the mission to help get you into the mood of it. We have British aircraft overhead. We're in a truck. There's a Jeep over there. Willie's Jeep. Crusader in front of us. And... well, they're all dead. Yep. And now we're going to go into urban warfare. Probably the one thing that scares the crap out of pretty much every single soul. Now we can move out. We're not going to be able to get that. So we're going to try to move around. Try to die in the meantime. I know I say this every single time I have the Lee Enfield, but it really annoys me how he keeps moving his head off of the sight in order to operate the bullet. You don't need to do it. Now, I know some people will question why didn't the British have a semi-auto rifle by the time they hit World War II? And the answer is very simple. They had more pressing needs in other aspects of the military, so developing a semi-automatic rifle was not really... it wasn't seen as being necessary. Well, it was necessary, it was just on low priority.
Area secure. Good work, team. That's all you want.
Here.
Let's move.
That's what I remember. In the last mission, I was like, I think there's a machine gun around the corner. Yep, there was. It's just a completely different level I was thinking about. And of course, we have the fearsome 88s. Now, it's funny because it's eliminate the Axis naval artillery crews. As far as I'm aware, the German Navy did not have access to the 88. They may have had it, but I think it would have been... no, I don't think they would have had it, because I think the 88s are strictly a Luftwaffe. Actually, no, that's wrong, because the German army had it. But it's more of a anti-air defense weapon rather than a tank, because, well, it also can fill the role of anti-tank and anti-aircraft. But for ship use, like trying to take out these ships out here, it's way too small. You would do pretty much no damage. Like, you might be able to do a little damage to a destroyer, but you're not gonna take one down with just 8. So you would probably have way bigger guns. Like, I'm talking at minimum, like, over 100mm guns in order to actually take down a ship. Yeah, these would be anemic. Let's take him out. And let's carry on. There's a Tommy, there's another Tommy. Alright, let's take him out. Let's get fire Krauts. Or Jerry, I guess I should be saying. We are in the British campaign. Something's around this corner. I distinctly remember this level actually very well. I don't know why exactly, but I'm not sure if like I just died a ton on this level as like a kid, so I just remember this so well. Alright, let's radio the naval fleet. And of course we have the British Royal Navy. Now, as I was saying earlier with why the British military did not have a semi-auto rifle, part of the reason was because you had to put a ton of money into the Navy, so there just really wasn't a huge army budget. And what army budget there was, they needed to develop the tank corps, plus various other things like developing the Bren, getting a new submachine gun, developing the RAF. Please did. This guy. Okay. Yeah, there's a reason why doors are called fatal funnels, because if you're defending a building, you're going to have your gun on the door, which is why in CQB, you're supposed to charge in through the door quickly, so then that way you spend less time in the dangerous zone. Slowly remembering this game. Why can I not crouch? Okay. Alright, let's get you. Alright. Where are you? What the? Oh. Another one of you guys. I think he missed. Alright, we're gonna get down there. Try to clear out this next building. This is a really dark area.
Enemy down!
Alright. So far I haven't died yet. Which is kind of lucky. Might be able to do next mission, which I think is the tank one, if I remember correctly. Up. Grab the documents.
Regroup on the docks! Let's go! Let's go!
And that's actually it. You just need to get back to the docks area. This is a relatively short mission if you don't die. There's a good chance you will die a couple times because there's a few sections, like mainly the 2 machine gun sections that don't give you a lot of room to maneuver. Will kill you, but generally speaking, this mission you can do pretty quick. And that should be it.
Well, that's a sport of luck. Not bad, McGregor. Nice find.
Nice beer.
Listen up.
Wait, no.
We're
Beer?
finished here.
Wine.
Well done, boys.
I'll drink to that, sir.
Alright. So, with that, we are done with the first British, like, mission area. Now I think the next one's gonna be the tanks, because we haven't been going for too long. This time in Libya in 1943. A lot of people tend to forget this, but the North Africa campaign is more commonly associated with 1942. It wasn't actually completed until early 1943. And there was still a lot of fighting to do in 1943, mainly pushing them out of Libya and Tunisia and Algeria. But there's kind of what I've noticed, or at least how I used to do it as a kid, was 1942 was North Africa, 1943 was Italy, which Italy went on till the end of the war, and then Normandy was 1944, and then Germany was 1945. That it wasn't as clean as that, but you would go on.
Libya, 1943. The British Crusader tank enters its second
Yep.
year of service in the North African Desert Campaign. Desert tank warfare proves difficult and challenging for both sides.
Yes.
Dust clouds kicked up by the movement of the tanks and the firing of their cannons create poor visibility conditions during combat.
Not to mention,
Navigation
but
is also a problem. The vast Libyan
That
desert
was another
offers
problem.
little in the way of recognizable landmarks.
but engines frequently got
Crusaders,
choked
whose
up
guns lack the
by
range of their German counterparts,
dust.
are forced to use
And that happened on
fast,
both
high-speed
sides. It wasn't
charges
just the
to close
British.
within firing range. A dangerous strategy that leaves much to be desired.
Yeah, the cavalry attitude, where you have to get in close. You didn't necessarily have to get in as close as what we're going to see here, but let's go ahead and show this. This is actually one of the few tank missions that I actually like. I'm going to be honest, I don't like most tank missions, because a lot of the times it's... Oh. That's a machine gun. Huh. I don't know what the machine gun is. Anyway, let's get going. But yeah, I'm not a huge fan of tank missions usually because, you know, you're playing a shooter, and whenever they try to have vehicle combat, it tends to be very... not necessarily bad, but it's like the game just wasn't built for it, so... like, it's not great. But, to be fair, I think this actually does it pretty well, because it's still mostly a first-person shooter. You just move faster, and you have a gun. Well, a bigger gun. But the thing that I actually like about this mission is it kind of shows the earlier strategy towards tank warfare, at least for the British, which was you are a cavalryman. You are going to charge forward and hit the enemy in... well, you're going to hit him fast and you're going to hit him hard, and that was like the cavalry mentality. But that's not really how they would do it at this point. And the reason why they didn't do it the same way was actually because Montgomery stopped them. Because frequently the tanks would charge in and just get slaughtered. Which is why the British very quickly stopped. Now, these are Panzer IIs. Call of Duty 2 seems to be very, very very, very in love with Panzer IIs. Again, they wouldn't really be here, it'd be Panzer IIIs. And also, I'm going to say this right now. That would absolutely kill a Panzer II. No question asked. You did not need to get on the side and hit like a weak point in a Crusader tank in order to blow these up. These were very thinly armored. And also, this is the machine gun variant of the Panzer IIs. How are they destroying, how are they destroying these Crusader tanks? They just have machine guns. Like, these are the machine gun variant. They shouldn't be able to do any damage to the Crusader tanks. This is kind of showing like the myth of, Axis armor was so good and so advanced. And meanwhile, Allied armor was just bad. It was awful. And that couldn't really be further from the truth. The German tanks were not this invincible, absolutely fantastic tank. It was very much like individually some tanks that the Germans had were better than other tanks that the Americans and the British had. But if you're actually taking a look at it pound for pound, the absolute best tank of World War II was the M4 Sherman, an American tank that's frequently regarded as just being this tank that if you looked at it, it would explode. But it was pound for pound the best tank because you could get them in large enough numbers to actually make a difference. It's like, it doesn't matter if you have the best weapon in the world. If you can't get them into the field, it doesn't matter. And the 75mm gun was more than sufficient to take out most German tanks. I mean, people forget, the later variants of the M4 Sherman towards the end of the war, after Normandy, had the exact same gun as the Hellcat, the tank destroyer, that everyone praises was a great tank that absolutely wrecked Panzers. Meanwhile, you had the M4 Sherman in the later variant that had that gun. But yeah, that's not the most accurate portrayal of the Crusader tanks. Because realistically, a bunch of Crusader tanks against a bunch of Panzer IIs with machine guns, those Panzer IIs would have been wiped out without a single casualty from the British side. 88 Ridge. Now, the 88mm was the most dangerous weapon they had. And here we have M4 Shermans given as Lend-Lease. And like I said, they were very effective. And at this point in the war, they had a 75mm gun that was more than sufficient to pretty much take out all of the German tanks at the time. The Tigers would later give them a bit of issue, as well as the Panthers. But again, in early to mid-war, when you're mostly facing against Panzer IIIs, Panzer IVs, the M4 Sherman was a fantastic tank. And once the M4 Sherman got the upgraded gun towards the end of the war, even the Panthers and the Tigers would struggle against the M4 Sherman. But yeah, this is very much early British tactics when it comes to British warfare, British tank warfare. This is very much the early tank war version where we're just gonna have a whole bunch of just tanks rush forward and try to kill everything, in sight. But that's not at this point. Not at this point in the war. at this point in the war, they very much stopped doing that because tanks are very vulnerable without infantry support. More Panzer IIs. Okay. Yeah, and this is the thing that kind of annoys me. These isn't even the tank, well, the cannon version of the Panzer IIs. These are the machine gun variants. So they shouldn't be firing a shell anyway.
Another trench! Watch for AT rockets!
Enemy on the right! Ready to fire!
AT rockets? I just noticed they said that. They shouldn't really be saying that.
That's got him!
Because the, Germans didn't have rockets at this time. Most of the German anti-tank weapons were stuff like the PAC and the 88. But, to be fair, I'm saying all these inaccuracies. This game was made in 2005. A lot of the stuff that we know about tank warfare from World War II actually came a lot later because the myths that the German armor was so great and so fantastic really wasn't debunked until fairly recently. What do you mean? We're trying to go over there. Hard to blow up these 88s. Going in the right direction. By the way, the machine gun is automatic. There was a little pop-up that showed that, but earlier, but I would just want to clarify that. I'm not actually doing the shooting of the machine gun, I'm just doing the shooting of the cannon. That should have destroyed you. That definitely should have destroyed you. That definitely should have destroyed you.
Good dust in your eyes, Commander!
Alright, let's take this guy out.
We're on target!
Although now that I took that one up close, it does look like there's a cannon, but the cannon looks like it's on the wrong side, which is why I think they're the machine gun variant. Because the cannon version, they should be flipped from what they're shown in the game. That should have killed you. Yeah, as I was saying earlier, back during 2005, guys just didn't know better. They just didn't know better, so they just thought that, you know, British tanks were inferior in every single way compared to the Germans, and I died. First death in the video, so it's not super bad. But yeah, this is very much the kind of the more annoying. The British tanks were terrible, and the German tanks were superior in every single way. That was not how it worked. Especially Crusaders versus Panzer IIs. Because even the Panzer IIs are equipped with the cannon, it still would have lost to a Crusader. Now, if this was Panzer IIIs, I would see that as being a lot more of the case, because Panzer IIIs were, generally speaking, better than the Crusaders. But do keep in mind, when I say better than, usually that means doctrinally rather than necessarily, like, if you put this tank against this tank will absolutely win in every single way, well, every single time. No, that's not the case at all. You know, things change. There's circumstances that can happen that will determine which side wins, which side loses. And with that, we're done. But, yeah. Overall, I overall like these missions. I I think it's actually, they're quite fun. But yeah, I wish it didn't go with the narrative that the British tanks just sucked and the German tanks were better in every single way. That wasn't the case at all, especially in North Africa, because the M4 Sherman was actually better on average than the German tanks, because this was before the Panzer IV got upgraded from the infantry support tank into the more main battle tank that it would become. So it was mainly the Panzer III against the the M4 Sherman. By the way, this is Cavalry Astoria, and thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, I would appreciate if you liked and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.